Do your or your students' rolls sound like this? Or this? Or this? These issues can be fixed with just a few simple corrections, and that's what this lesson is going to show you. There are a few techniques you need to master in order to have a great sounding press roll. One is to have long, multiple bounces in each hand. Two is to make sure you're leaving both the sticks on the head at the same time rather than separating them. Three is making sure that you're playing with the right amount of pressure so it's not too crunched or it's not too floppy. All right, let's get started. So as you're practicing your rolls, the first thing you want to do is you want to try to maximize bounces for each stroke. That means you want to see how many bounces can I possibly get with one lift of the stick, like this. Notice how I'm taking my time with that. I'm not forcing anything to happen, I'm just letting it bounce. I'm also being patient, especially at the end. You see right there? Too many times drummers will lift up the stick before they're done bouncing. And when they do that, they miss out on really the best part of the roll, which is that final last crunch in there. Right there at the end, if you can maintain that bounce and keep the stick on the head, you can maximize that last crunch to help your roll sound thicker and more connected. So in order to do this, you want to find the right balance point of the stick. Now, one thing I want you to do is I want you to use your middle finger to balance it, not your first finger. Because in order for this grip to work, you balance on your middle finger, and then your thumb and your forefinger are the pressure gauge on this. So start with having your middle finger underneath, you're not really grabbing the sticks. And see where on the stick it's going to bounce the longest. If you're too far forward, it's going to die out a little bit quick. Same with too far back. So you want to find that magical spot. Right there, you see that difference? So you want to find that with both sticks. Notice again, I'm being patient. I'm just letting it die out. One of the causes of choppy, kind of thin rolls is not letting that stick bounce all the way to the end before you pick it up. Here's the other thing, is you need to keep the other stick on the drum while you're making a stroke. For instance, you see that? It's like you're playing in molasses. Because when you're playing a long, smooth roll, you're actually overlapping your sticks. You're not doing this. And that right there is the leading cause of this roll. Sound familiar? The way you fix that, leave the sticks on the head so they overlap. So you have to be patient with that. So after you have taken the time to really work on maximizing that bounce, then what you do is you just simply rotate your hand and you use your thumb and your index finger as your pressure gauge. So that means that's where you're going to put a little bit of pressure on there to control this bounce so it's not just loose and floppy. So it's going to be a gauge. So you need to figure out by trial and error how much pressure it takes to play a good roll. So you have all these floppy, loose bounces. You want to take all that same energy, but you want to compress it into a shorter stroke that's going to be more succinct. So I'm starting to play a little bit faster. Now again, you want to experiment. use too much pressure. So you know what that feels like and sounds like. Then you can start to loosen up and find that sweet spot to where right before it gets too loose. Too loose, it just starts getting out of control and you miss that bounce there. So you want to continue to do this. You rotate and your thumb and your index finger are the pressure gauge. So then you want to just do long, patient, slow buzzes. All while practicing keeping the other stick on the head. I cannot emphasize how important that is for making a good sound. So here is another exercise that I guarantee will improve the sound of your roll, and that is practicing super quiet pianissimo rolls on the edge of the drum like this. Also, very slow. By doing it slowly, you're forced to get that stick to bounce as long as you can before that next stroke, rather than just going fast, where you're not really practicing long strokes. So like I said, spend a week doing that every day and I guarantee you will have a great sounding roll by the end of the week. So once again, I'm going to show you some examples of some not so great rolls and what you could do to make them sound better. If your roll sounds like this, it's because you're not overlapping your strokes. Try to play slightly faster and work on extending those buzzes so it's long and connected. If your roll sounds like this, you're definitely using too much pressure. Lighten up on the pressure gauge until it sounds more relaxed. You'll notice it feels better too. If your roll sounds like this, then you're playing with uneven pressure in each hand. Make sure your stick heights are the same and you're not buzzing with one hand harder than the other.